and walk the walk. New week, new opportunities to profit. Welcome everyone to WagerTalk Today. Dan is halfway back. He's back physically, but the internet's a little spotty, so he may jump in, may not. But we got a big show, guys. Yanni's going to be jumping in. Bill Crackman is going to be here. We got to talk to him about the Arizona Cardinals scout director got caught. He got caught doing the gambling thing when you're not supposed to be doing the gambling thing. And then we got Steve Merril going to break down a couple baseball games. But first, we got to start with a free play here. We have a 5% tennis doubles play that is up, but I got a free play that goes off a little bit later today. So let's do the free play here. We're going to ATP doubles. This is in Washington. So if you go to sports books, click on tennis, click on ATP Washington doubles, and you're going to see Harrison and Skupski over Hidalgo Shelton. We're going to parlay that with Bolelli, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, and Vavasori over Cash and Erler. Basically, each leg is the same handicap. Hidalgo and Shelton, they have not played together, and Harrison Skupski are just one of the best teams on the planet. They're probably the favorite to win this event, so they should roll here. Look for them to end up in the finals, but they should get out of the first round unscathed. And then same thing here in the second one. Cash and Erler, they normally have different partners, but for this week, they're playing together, so not a lot of chemistry. I'm sure they're going to be worthy opponents, but Vavasori and Bolelli play together. They went 6-2 combined in Wimbledon and the French Open. So there's got a couple of mismatches here, and you parlay that together, and that's minus 133. That is later this afternoon, so that's your free play. But we have a 5% best bet that goes off tomorrow morning. So you want to wake in cash with a 5%. I can't remember the last tennis 5% best bet that we've had. So looking forward to it. We're on a really nice tennis run. I believe it's an 8-2 tennis run. So pretty happy with that. So, all right, let's bring in Yanni, and we got to talk about Steam today. I know he said before the show, it's already a busy day, and I have a story for you, Yanni, that over the weekend that has never happened to me in my entire career. I can't wait to tell you about it. But happy Monday. How are you?
Never better. God bless America. I always check. Made a little bit of money last week over the last 7 days. So I am up for subscribers and more importantly for myself, because I'm selfish, up through all my accounts. So it was a good week. Ended up when the dust settled, ended up actually coming out exactly 1 unit ahead on the weekend for my fight bets. I lost my 5%, but it shows you just how on point I've been with fight days, losing the big bet. And when the dust settled, we still turned a slight profit. So I'll take it. With that said, it wasn't a good bet. Closing line value showed me that. I expected sharp money to come in. I didn't think it would come in late like it did. And I realized at that point, we're probably on the wrong side. I tell you when I place a good bet. I tell you when I place a bad bet. And in that particular wager, it just wasn't a good bet. I could have got a better number 2 minutes before the fight started than when I locked it down. So at that point, it's not a good bet. But I did place a really good bet today. Last week, okay, I go through my charts real quickly. Want to share this. I go through certain charts of companies that I'm following that I want to add to my portfolio, or ones that I have that I want to keep building on. Make a long story short, Tesla last week was around $400 a share. I did the chart on Tesla because I was seeing a lot of bad news about Tesla and their earnings. And I said, let me see where I would get in on Tesla again. And I got down to where doing my charts, and I said, okay, at $305, if it got to $305, that would be a risk level that it's only reached a little less than 10% of its lifetime. So since the lifetime of Tesla stock, if it gets to $305 or below, it's at that risk level that it's only done so 10% of the time. So I put in a big ass buy order at 305 and said, if it ever gets there, great. This morning I wake up and my brokerage account, I'm like, what? Wait, what? And I saw that the trade went through. So Tesla dropped to 304.80 and my 305 went through. Now, if it gets below 250, I saved backup dry powder, because if it gets below 250, anything below 248 actually it would be in a price range as far as risk goes that it's only been at 1% of its lifetime. So I almost hope that this trade kind of goes against me and I get to buy more at like 245, 250. Probably not going to happen, but you never know with the wars and everything breaking out. May get that shot, but you just never know when a great bet is going to come across. So that one did today and lock that in. But back to sports betting. I know it's the kind of slow time as we all wait football, and I actually finalized the college football season win totals. I had narrowed it down to 5, but this 6th one I had to fire. It was I added the 8 that I agreed with that I moved for those guys, but it just didn't qualify as a steam play. And this one I really liked. And next thing you know, a guy I really respect asked me if I could get him down this exact bet. And I was like, dude, okay, if anything, that's a sign. This is confirmation. So I sent out the 6th and final season win total for college football. There's 5 4% and 1 5% in there, as well as, college football to win the national championship. I told you I love my 3 sides in there. All are power rated in my top 11. That one, the 2% one, that's over 50 to 1, over 60 to 1, actually. They are my 11th top college football team. I know I shared my top 10 in that video, but this one is the 11th at the cutoff. I'm done with the NFL. So today, tomorrow, I'll be finalizing NFL season win totals and finalizing my futures as far as representing the AFC, NFC in the Super Bowl. I was going to look at the make playoffs, not make playoff props, but we're going to lock up enough capital in season win totals and in the futures market if that value's there in that futures market. Because, again, the hold is so high on those futures to win the Super Bowl, win the World Series, that you really have to find good spots or it's not worth it. Like Minnesota Lynx in WNBA was a good spot. We got down at plus 750. I think they're even money now. That was a good bet. But futures markets, again, the hold is really high. So you can't go crazy with the win championships because it's pari-mutuel, almost like horse racing, where if all the money comes in on these teams, the odds change on the other teams. And when that's the case, you're looking at upwards of 30% plus hold for the books. So be very selective with your to win bets as far as winning national championships, winning Super Bowls. You're trading into a high hold market. Your admission price to place a bet is very high. So again, be very selective with those. But I'm ready to go. We do have Major League Baseball, Andy. We even have look ahead WNBA for Tuesday. I know there's no games tonight, but no surprise, they're already getting ahead of some of these sides and totals. So whatever you want to dive into, we're ready to go.
Well, let's do WNBA because these are the lines that move insane from overnight. Like these lines are just probably not going to be here tomorrow morning when we all wake up. So I would be all over. The Connecticut Sun plus 5.5 against the Mystics. I'll be all over that one. Probably the Fever minus 8.5. What are you seeing? Those are
that got bet. Yeah, 617 Indiana minus 6.5, 7.5, and the over 181, 182. They bet over 175 in Portland, Las Vegas, and they took LA also at 5.5 after you saw it got dummied up a little bit. And then you saw LA get hit at 5.5, 5, and 4.5. So a little bit of manipulation on that LA game that I saw, because in my account, I didn't get any of the dummying up, but I did get LA plus 5.5 and 5 on those accounts.
You want to do MLB or you want to hear? Here, I'll tell you my story of something that's never ever happened to me. Okay, so I'm a huge bare knuckle fighting fan. We had this really bizarre card in Uruguay. A lot of fighters, first time fighting, some local kickboxers. It was tough to do the research. So there was a women's fight, and I told you I beat the line by like 35 cents. So I was really happy. They do the face-offs. And there's not much film on these women, by the way. And a lot of the film's pretty old. Okay, so I hadn't seen this one particular woman in a while, and she comes out for weigh-ins and face-offs. And I'm not joking, Yanni. It was a guy.
A lot of them are.
I bet against a guy.
You fought a dude
in a women's fight.
How'd it go for you?
I lost a split decision and she should have won. She should have won.
No way.
She should have won. I thought it was a robbery. Even people that bet on the other side were like, yeah, I had money on the other side. That should have lost. But yeah, chalk that up to that has never happened to me in the history of my betting.
Real quickly, bro, I just wanted to show some real love for your stream because you've genuinely got crazy potential. And I'd love to connect with your top Twitch streamer who pulls thousands of viewers, bro. I could get you upwards of 950,000 views, bro. 590, forgive me. Just like that.
Appreciate you, Daniel. Appreciate you, man. Nothing but love. So,
my man, hit me up, D. Hit me up too, D.
Yeah, so
on Twitter. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a bad beat. We move on to the next.
What are you going to do? Sometimes you run into a wall, brick wall.
Yeah. So, all right. What do you got in MLB today?
All right. We got, again, no surprise, dogs. Just like the last couple of days since the All-Star break, I've been seeing all dogs, not even like getting out ahead of some of these chalky favorites that you know are going to get bet. I think it's because, again, it's a zero-sum game, and they know other sharps are looking to bet the same stuff if the line's off. So they're wasting no time of taking that plus money. They went 953 Arizona, plus 120, plus 115, and over 8.5 in that same game. 959 St. Louis, plus 110 and under 9.5 at even money. 962 Texas, plus 125 and 120. 966 the White Sox, plus 145 and 140. 968 LA Angels at plus 105. 973 Toronto, plus 115, plus 110, plus 105, and the under 10 at even money. So not a lot of volume, but those are legit. Like those are all legit moves on these dogs. That's, again, what I've been seeing, and not big dogs. I mean, yesterday they did come in on Colorado on the run line, getting a run and a half and plus 150. But mostly it's been these money lines, small dogs, plus 110s, plus 105s, plus 115s, you know, those coin flip type games, where they're not afraid to take the dog. And more times than not, it's opposite the public, because since the All-Star break, the public's been betting the exact same teams. You know, they've been betting the Dodgers, they're betting the Yankees, like they're betting the first place teams. And unfortunately for them, as me and you have talked about throughout this season, there's just not that many high-level first-place teams. I mean, you look at the AL Central, first-place teams won 52% of their games. AL West, first-place teams won 50% of their games. I mean, Texas is one game above 500. Seattle's won 2 games below 500, and they're a game and a half out. You're like, these are – you look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is 5.5 games out in their series because the Mets – have outperformed. Like, I mean, Atlanta's won 62 games. They're at 59%. So even Atlanta has like outperformed what they're expected. We have them down expected to win about 56% of their games. So like when it's all said and done, even these first place teams are just not cashing a ton of tickets. I mean, yeah, you could say that the Dodgers have won 63% and Milwaukee's won, 63%. Those are the outliers. And I do think, at least our projection, Milwaukee won't be at 60% when it's done. We actually think they're going to get to like 95 games, and that's right below. I think a 96 or 97 is where you're at 60%. But we have Milwaukee only at 95 games, but we do have LA still getting above that, staying above that 60% mark, because they should be able to win 101 to 102 games. But otherwise, all first place teams, expected right around here, man. So don't be afraid to bet these dogs as we await football. I know everybody's getting excited for football, but even when college gets here, even when the NFL gets here, there's going to be a lot of value on some Major League Baseball dogs, especially as we get into the must win. You know what I mean? Teams battling for positions. And because again, when football's here, here's what you see, Andy, because I look at some sheets and I see that during the week, they'll bet baseball. Like when there's not football, you'll see straight bets on baseball and stuff. But when there's football, like there's almost zero baseball bets from recreational bettors, like barely, not even adding parlays or adding them to their parlays. They just completely skip the sport. And I think those are the days where you will be able to really find some value, because it's just completely being overlooked. And if it's not attracting any action, any attention, it's not attracting the attention of the odds makers and bookmakers either. Like if I'm guarding my house, I'm going to guard where I'm most vulnerable, right? And you're not vulnerable at baseball and when football's here. The risk is going to come in football if you make a mistake. You could mess up a baseball line and big deal. Crack's going to beat you out of a dime. You know what I mean? Like if you mess up a baseball line, but you mess up a MLB line, an NFL college football, you're going to get blasted even by the public.
Yeah. So true. It is true. Like soon as football gets here, man,
everything else takes the back seat. It does.
Yeah. So
I like your approach. You still bet those smaller markets. Like even though all the action and everybody's talking and all the excitement and being in the industry, you want to give people what they want most. But I love the culture that's more about winning than about promoting sports that are popular. You know what I mean? That you could give lacrosse, you could give women's tennis doubles, and there's a market for that because there's now, thank God, that's the positive of the internet and the positive of sports betting content, that bettors are getting sharper and sharper, even though it's not being reflected in their results. And I think it's not being reflected in their results, not because they're not becoming sharper bettors, because they are. Like your average bettor today, 3 months into their career, is sharper than I was 3 years into my career because of the information that's at their fingertips. Like they could listen to podcasts, listen to shows and of guys that actually win, that know what they're doing. Like there's tons of content out there, and that you could learn so much. Where back when I was coming up, it was nothing. You had your local sports paper. Like that was it. You had everything you had to learn your own through trial and error. That's not the case today. But the reason I think it's not reflected in their bank accounts is the same reason for every other market. Being a trader or investor is very difficult. Like it's hard enough to be a profitable investor or trader, but then to know how to bet and actually like how to handle risk, not just correctly and efficiently, but then emotionally how to handle risk. And I think that's the biggest issue with sports bettors. Like there's a lot of guys on here right now that can beat the market, have the know-how, the skill set, and the ability, the desire, all the things it takes, but they don't have that missing ingredient, which is that discipline and patience, which that half percent has. Like that's what took me the longest to acquire because I just wasn't built that way. Like that made my life so much harder than it needed to be. So it's a long way of saying, if you're new to sports betting, I love it. Have that passion, learn as much as you can, but focus a lot of your attention on how you're going to manage your risk, on how you're going to bet the stuff that you learned how to beat, and deal with winning, deal with losing, deal with the swings that are inevitable. No matter how good you are at what you do, there is going to come a time where you shit the bed and it just is awful for you. And when that happens, you got to be able to deal with it. So best of luck to everyone out there. New week, new day to do it the right way. I'm starting working out today. Actually, the trainer texted me. He's not sick, so he's coming over. I got to get my ass up. And you got to do the stuff that's hard. Do the stuff that's hard. And you'll get ahead. That's what I've learned.
I remember
being uncomfortable.
I remember the very first bets I ever placed. And the worst thing was that I won my first 3 bets and they were NFL.
You're like, this is easy.
It was all, and it was the Saints. I remember they covered the first 3 games of a season. I love that. And I was just like, they're just handing out money. Like, this is the easiest
Why
thing
does anyone work? Why do people go to work? This is all you got to do. Why the hell wouldn't you just place a bet, pick up your feet, walk the dog, make lunch, watch a game?
Drew Brees was lighting them up at home. It was when Drew Brees could put up 50 points. They covered the first 3 and then took about 3 or 4 years of getting my ass kicked to learn. So yeah, I would say the worst thing that happened to me was I won my very first 3 bets.
Yeah, that's a gift and a curse at the same time.
It really is. It really is. So before we go, Yanni, I just have to show you this. I
shit. Yeah, that's a
I bet
no
against this.
No
I bet
disrespect.
against this in a women's fight.
Oh yeah. I'd have done the same because I don't even look at the pictures 9 out of 10 times. So I'm just looking at the data. And I could imagine if I turned on the TV and I saw that dude walking down the aisle, I'd have been looking to get off that bet as quickly as possible. Closing line value don't mean shit when you're facing a dude in women's sports.
Yeah, I was like, what is this CLV? Is this not
all the
CLV?
CLV in the world's not going to help you, dude. All the CLV is not going to help you.
Yeah. It was a wild night. Wild night. All right. What do you have up for everybody on this Monday?
Team sheet's already out. 4% in Major League Baseball. We're 14-5 over the last 19 Steam sheet bets. I've been selective with those. If we don't have a bet, I don't put out the Steam sheet. So I did have something confirmed nice and early that I like. Sent that out, and we'll continue to add information throughout the day. Now, there's the college football packages are up. National championship package. Want to get down on those. I love these bets. And season win totals, 6-pack. We're done, plus 8 strongest leans. In case you have your own opinions, over the next few days, subscribers, you'll be getting that NFL stuff. Get that in so we could move on to week by week because the preseason's right around the corner. You know what we did last year. Don't need to repeat it. I'll probably repeat it 100 times between now and first week, but we did damage. We're going to do damage again. Jump on board. Best of luck to you guys as well. And best of luck this week. Crush it.
All right. Thank you, Yanni. Appreciate it. Always good talking to you on a Monday. So, yeah, outside of that, it was a very good weekend. Thank you to everybody that jumped on board with the 5% UFC play. UFC is so back, baby. UFC is so back. I am very, very proud of what we did with UFC. We got our asses kicked at the beginning of the year. We took some time off, changed up a couple things, and now we've hit, I believe, I don't want to misquote it, but UFC has been running really, really well. So we're going to have a 5% that's going to go up a little bit later today. I want to make sure the line doesn't move in the first. Sometimes you get line movements in UFC on Mondays when people are just now looking at the lines for the first time. So I know where we want to go. So that 5% best bet will be up for Saturday. But we do have a 5% that is up for tennis, doubles. Check your books. Make sure that you have doubles. I just played on DraftKings. So it's on DraftKings, FanDuel. So make sure your books have it and then jump on board. It's Awaken Cash. This should be going off earlier in the day. We gave out a free play at the beginning of the show to whet your appetite. That's for this afternoon. And we have this is a big week of tennis. A lot of them took some time off after Wimbledon, but we got Washington, ATP, and WTA. You can bet against Venus Williams tomorrow morning. That should be fun. So we got some big names playing. Kasatkina is a plus money against Konskaya. So they got some pretty big names. Those tournaments have already started, but the big names are starting to play today. So a lot of really good stuff going on there. All right, let's bring on Bill Crackman. Happy Monday. How are you, Bill? How was your weekend?
Hey, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, no, the weekend was okay here in Vegas, and you just got to stay inside. It's been 113, 100, like crazy weather. I don't remember it being this hot for so many consecutive days. And we've had some humidity, which is very unusual for Las Vegas. So, yeah, anyway, just got to stay indoors and go from place to place. People come here to Vegas, and I know some people that were here last week, 2 weeks ago. They come to Vegas and they're unprepared. They don't realize how easy it is to get dehydrated. And that's exactly what happened. The guy wanted to play golf like all day long in the morning and until the like almost early afternoon, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And he had to go to the emergency, even though he had 3 bottles of water, he said, still had to go to the emergency room that night. So, you're mixing drinking in there, alcohol and stuff. It could get really bad. So, but anyway,
Nice.
yeah, no, that's what we're getting preparing though for here more than anything, Andy. Preparing my team for preseason football. Looking forward to that. Only a few short weeks away, and looking forward to that. And WNBA is at the past the halfway point now. How are you guys doing in UFC? Because I've been getting some pretty good UFC information. I get this sheet every week. I never really dabbled in UFC betting, not too often. and it's a scary thing for me to be crossing over to UFC here. I've been getting these sheets every week, and from a very good originator, and he is undercover. No one knows because the lines don't move. They even go against him sometimes. So, but however,
Yeah.
the work for the last, this is like months and months of sending me this. So the work looks pretty decent. I just always want to, before I put something out there, I always want to make sure it's really good. You guys have been doing that, and Gianni's been doing that for a long time, right?
Oh man, UFC is one of the first sports I started dabbling in. The lines just like anything, the lines used to be so gettable. I mean, it was, you could print money in UFC. One thing you have to do with UFC is you have to know what time of the year that you're in. So what's getting ready to happen is they're getting ready to have something called Contender Series. This is my favorite betting part of the year. Every Tuesday they have like 4 or 5 fights. Most of the time it's 5 fights. And Dana White picks guys that he gives contracts to. It's a way to bring in new fighters, basically. What they're
Okay.
doing right now is they're putting older fighters and fighters on losing streaks against each other so they can cut guys to make room for these new fighters. So you look at the card this week, there's a bunch of bad fighters fighting each other. So this time of year is basically the cut the cut fighters. Now when you get towards the end of the year, they take like a 5-6 week break around Christmas. What you'll see is fighters trying to take a last fight to get a last payday right before the end of the year. So you'll see some short notice fighters, or you'll see some guys that maybe are not 100% health because they want to get that last fight in before the year. So the different parts of the year offer different opportunities. But if your guy bets Contender Series, make sure you take him really serious. That is one of the best ways to make money. It's these guys that fight on regional scenes, not a ton of information out there. But when you find the information, it's a gold mine. There was a guy last year. It was like, who is this guy? And as he was walking out to the ring, the announcer say, "Yeah, this guy's a website engineer during the day." It was like, we gotta bet against this guy. He's a website designer, and he got killed in like 10 seconds. So it's
Oh
stuff
wow.
like, it's stuff
Okay.
like that where you find these little tidbits of information about part-time website engineers fighting real fighters. But yeah, it's a great sport to make money on. We were terrible at the first part of the year, but we've gotten things back on track in a big way. But I digress. I got to ask you about the Arizona Cardinals
Yeah.
director of college scouting. Turns out he leaked, I'm reading this verbatim, he leaked information about the 2026 draft and bet on parlays on NFL and college games. He leaked that they were going to draft Jeremiah Love, placed bets on that. So yeah, he's in big trouble. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's going to happen, and it's going to continue to happen. These guys are guys that are making, I don't know, I'll say $200,000 a year, and maybe not even that much. So when you have situations where you have guys that are can make a score of 20, 30, 40, $50,000 in one shot, you're going to have leaks like that from the different organizational people that are gamblers. And gambling is so fashionable now, it's so accepted. So I remember years ago I was on a show called Cold Pizza. I was on a couple shows on
Yes.
ESPN, and I was doing this show, and there was an NFL commissioner, this is 20 years ago, came on saying that less than 5% of people that watch the game, either at the game or at home, wager on the game. And of course, my opposition, it was me and another guy that were just, I didn't want to embarrass the commissioner, but I kind of put it out there bluntly, like, come on, commissioner, give it a break. If it wasn't for sports betting, you might even not even have a job. I mean, and it's not that serious, but you know, they were denying there was sports betting going on. The NFL, all the leagues, NFL, baseball, hockey, and now everyone is in bed with these leagues, and well, these leagues are in bed with the sports books that are advertising everywhere. And sure enough, what happens? You're going to have it be so fashionable, so accepted that it's in the locker room now. It's in the clubhouse. It's in the training camps. It's in the draft camps, as you could see here, because you could bet on draft information. So, it's going to happen. It's only going to get worse too. We've only seen the tip of the iceberg here. There's going to be much more things like this down the line because when money gets involved, greediness gets involved. You see players that are making $25 million a year in NBA telling their entourage that, hey, I'm sitting out today. I mean, if you're affecting guys that are making 25 million a year because of greediness, because of stupidity, what chance does the guy have that's working for the organization and scouting, making 150,000 a year? What chance does he have? Now, of course, there's a code of ethics um, that you're not supposed to break, and they know that because they are putting it out through all the teams. How the seriousness of losing your job, losing your career is, but still, they just say, hey, I could just give this to my brother-in-law or someone else with a different name and let him know this guy. We're going to be drafting this guy, and but here in 2026, heading to 27, I don't know if you can get down that any big money on scouting information, the draft information anymore. Back a couple of years ago, like when I bet Banchero to go number one at 18 to 1, 21 to 1, I was running to the border here over by Hoover Dam. I was betting it on my app. They were taking thousands of dollars to win, hundreds of thousands. Those kind of limits aren't here anymore. So unless they're getting down something, with the local guys or something, but who's going to pay that any big money on draft information, especially if it's going to be a surprise outcome that looks like you knew? So yeah, this guy, they looked at his accounts. He's betting parlays. He's like most of the public, they're just firing on parlays, and it's where like 60% of the sports book profit comes from at some of the sports books, up to 70% of the profit comes from. So sure enough, this guy's like one of those guys, but he's just dummy enough to be dealing information on their inside information, and that's what it's called. I hate using their words, inside information or fix, but it's happening now. We see these stories breaking more and more. And this guy, he was actually the head of scouting. He got moved up. He's been in the organization 10 years. Got moved up to the head of scouting last year, and I'm sure he's being penalized now. I don't even know if they're going to fire him or. But I read the articles you guys did, and I heard about it also. It's dumb. It's dumb, but it's hard to control the internal human instincts of, wow, I could bet on something I know. I can make money, and I can do it real quietly without anyone knowing. But it's not quietly, because here's what happens. You tell somebody else, and even though he's not directly involved with you, maybe, here's what happens. You're going to tell him to get you down 100 or $200. That guy, no matter what you say or I say, anyone says, here's how the conversation goes from that guy. He tells his buddies, hey, man, I'm friends with the guy that's the head of scouting in Arizona. Now, don't say anything to anybody, but this is really a lock. Don't say anything. Now you have a second and third and fourth source. Of course it's going to get out there. Hey,
going, and those guys
hey,
tell somebody.
My friend Joe knows the director of scouting on Arizona. Hey, this guy's going to go first. Next thing you know, 5 people know, and it was supposed to be, hey, don't say nothing about my name, because it's so good to get that tap on the shoulder, because we want to be recognized for, look how sharp we are. It's like the slot machines out here, and not only Vegas, anywhere. The bonus machines have to hit by a certain level, and there's different, I call them the sour rooters, that now these people tell their buddies, hey, look what I know. I know when this game goes up to 9 at level 10, it has to hit. You get all the diamonds, you get all the bonuses. So now it's just an ego thing. They've been so stupid their entire life. Now they can recognize for one little smart thing, and someone could say, oh, wow, he's not that dumb after all. But yeah, meanwhile, by telling everybody, telling all your buddies and telling everything, it gets revealed. And in the end, you wonder why you didn't get that information anymore, because you wanted to get that tap on the back. That's why. So it's really interesting what the gambling business is. It's some business. I put a tweet up the other day. That this just reminds me, and then it's not for anyone individual. I put a tweet up the other day, and I didn't think many people would understand it, but a couple of these people did because they got 14,000. Didn't get a lot of views. They got about 14,000 views. Um, some of these people I work with, WTF, which is what the fuck. Sometimes I think these people have to be from the island of misfit toys, and I am the effing ringleader. That's what I put. So, you're dealing with a lot of people that aren't used to, they're not used to making money betting sports or doing an edge on slot machines or video poker. And when they get that information, they're so overwhelmed with, oh my God, I'm actually doing something so sharp or so that they make dumb decisions, or they take it upon themselves to do something stupid instead of just grinding out, making money. I use the old term. They're jumping over $100 bill to make $1. Like, they don't realize slow and steady, we can make money doing this, doing A, doing B, doing C. So it's tough. It's a tough business. You have to have so many skill sets internally to be an advantage gambler. They call it an AP, which is an advantage player in a casino. You have to be, you have to have so many skill sets, and it's really tough. I know guys that have the best information in the world today, and they're dead broke because they couldn't handle it. Either they're drinking and gambling, they're overbetting their bankroll, they don't know what to do with the information. They're going right to this top source. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a good information on a game. I don't go to Circa. I don't go to Circa with the information. Circa moves everything I bet, first of all. Second of all, every sports book is told, hey, watch what Circa does, watch what Pinnacle does, watch what Amapola does. These are the sharp sports books. Watch what they do and make sure we move off them. Don't even take a bet. Just move. When they move, just move, because the move's coming. So I don't go to that source with my information. I go to the smaller sports books before I go to a place like Circa. To be real blunt, Circa may even get the opposite way of the way I'm thinking. They may even get the
Yeah.
opposite bet to move the market and give everyone else a better line. So that's an interesting. I know I'm going off on tangents in all different areas, Andy.
No,
Sorry.
you're fine. I'll share this with you. The other way that people ruin it, I was just saying something to Johnny in there. We have a mutual friend. Betting too much. People get greedy and like the cat's out of the bag. Way back when a certain book was releasing NASCAR lines, they kept mixing up Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch, who are brothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Kyle Busch was racing for a championship, and Kurt Busch was in a bad car. Well, the books kept mixing them up, and we kept winning betting on these certain lines. And I kept saying to my guys, I'm like, don't bet too much. They're gonna find out. Like, we might be the only people outside of a few others that have realized this. And sure enough, one of my buddies dropped the hammer, tried to get a couple $1,000s down, and they figured it out.
Yeah.
I've been mad at him ever since. I was just livid. Like, dude, just bet a couple hundred like the rest of us. They'll never know.
Yeah.
So
Gordon Gekko. Gordon Gekko wasn't always right. Greed is not always good.
No, it always bites us. So I don't know if you have a parlay, but you and I are golf nerds. And
a parlay? I'll never have a parlay.
A prop. I'm sorry. A prop. A prop.
Yeah, the parlay is not my repertoire. Yeah.
Sorry. You and I are golf. You and I are. Well, hold on. You and I are golf nerds.
Yeah.
It's the Jackson Coyven era here.
Yep. I love golf. Matter of fact, love watching golf, even when I'm not betting on it. Love watching golf. Love going to some of the better golf tournaments. It's a great thing. I love watching the majors. The majors, just for some reason, like even watching the Open over there and across the pond, there's just such a great feeling to it, to watching, getting up early in the morning and watching these guys at 7 a.m. my time. It's fantastic. But yeah, I do have a WNBA. Back to WNBA, we have a prop for you guys. The girls are back from the All-Star break here. So Aja Wilson on the Aces, assist over 2.5 minus 55. I'm looking at a site that has over 3.5 plus 150. There's probably some value in that. You're talking about 100 cents difference. So I'm okay with the over 3.5 plus 150 too. But over 2.5, 155 I seen this morning. She's the most dominant player in the league, and she's up against Portland team that should throw her plenty of double and even triple teams. So let's go over per assist here, over 2.5 minus 55. Okay with the over 3.5 plus 150. There's something for you guys. But just know that we have preseason football and NFL player props coming up to the rescue. And I want people to know you got to get on for a longer package with me. And like I've said in the past during many different sports, whether it be NFL Super Bowl props and March Madness, just like now, I'm giving you guys your 1 month warning. Get in there because we got a lot of good stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, man, you listen, the motto of the show is talk the talk and walk the walk, and you definitely do that with preseason football. You consistently talk about how good preseason football is, so I know you got to be excited, man.
They have to have their notifications on. I talked to Johnny about this yesterday. People, if you're going to buy my service and not have the notifications on for preseason football, don't buy it. Don't buy it because you want to have your email notifications on to get the information, and you'll see we get the best of the line moves, the best information, and of course, having them on, and you're going to get email. I understand you get a lot of emails. I don't know how individual emails work. Can you have notifications on from individual email people? It's possible you could. So my wife was telling me that.
Here's my Bill. You tell people this when they're asking you. This is how I do it. Create a separate Gmail account.
Oh, there you
your
go.
Name, Wager. So I have an email. It's my name, WagerTalk@gmail.com. I don't use it for anything else except emails that come from WagerTalk, i.e. plays notification. So
great idea.
Start a Gmail, Bill Crackman, WagerTalk@gmail, and don't share it with anybody. Turn your notifications on that. When your notification on your phone goes off from that particular account,
absolutely.
You know
Andy is spot on here. Great idea. Have a separate email just for those plays. Yep, good deal, Andy. Very smart.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Bill is excited about preseason. Go get his plays over Wager Talk. And thanks for joining us every Monday.
Thank
Bill,
you, guys.
Have a great week, man. Bill Crackman. Let's see. Steve. Oh, damn it. Dan, you want to bring in Steve? We can bring in Steve and do MLB if you want. We did it again, Steve.
I did it on purpose, Andy. I knew you were wearing it. I wore the gray. That's what I did on purpose. Like I wore the gray so we could separate the two of us.
That way you can tell us apart. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Nobody would know it's the same shirt because Dan's so good. Look at that. He switched it right as I was saying that. I was like, it looks like Wager Talk and Nike. Nobody would have known. It's like we could go play golf afterwards. Prez always had to hustle off. Prez would have had to been done in about 2 minutes when he was hosting back in the day because he always had a tea time where he had a Montreal smoked meat sandwich waiting for him, which always made me hungry.
Talk about Steve, I try and go over to Europe and play with my Irish friends, and we were in Portugal, and the Irish and the English don't necessarily get along that great in certain circles. And so where we were, there were Irish. I was with all my Irish friends, and there was a bunch of English guys, and my Irish friends were always, talking about it. So we go to the golf course, and they had their own uniforms. The English guy, they had their own custom jerseys, and so I asked one of them. I was like, "Are you guys like a team or something?" They're like, "No, we make custom shirts for our golf outings." And the Irish wouldn't let them hear the end of it.
Yeah, that's definitely more of it. The English drink probably more tea than the Irish drink, also, so that makes a lot of sense. Well, think about it though. Payne Stewart used to wear the knickers, and the hat, and that looked very English to me. So I do think it's an older sport there, and that's interesting. Yeah. You don't think the Irish are a little more? I got a lot of. I can say that because I've got a lot of Irish Scottish heritage, so I can say they're a little bit tougher. Yeah,
they're a little bit tougher, a little bit meaner.
Probably drink a little bit more, probably fight a little bit more. So there's trade-offs, but they're a little tougher.
Absolutely. So, we got a couple of baseball games to go over here. We're going to talk the Guardians, Reds, Braves, and the Mets. I'm just going to let you go and talk about both these games and tell everyone what you have up for Wager Talk. So the floor is yours, Steve. Talk to us about these two games.
Awesome. A little Monday Night Baseball here, Monday, July the 27th. And we'll start with the Mets and Braves. When the season began, we would have thought this was one of the best matchups of the year. And the Mets have obviously underachieved. They were just 40-57 before the All-Star break. About a week and a half ago, that Thursday, the standalone game against the Phillies, I did give out a free play on the Mets in that video. And I mentioned sometimes the layoff helps teams that are struggling, maybe cools off hot teams. But that hasn't necessarily been the case. The Mets, after winning that game against Philly, proceeded to lose 5 of their next 7. They did snap back with a win against the Dodgers yesterday on getaway day Sunday. But keep in mind, Sunday afternoon games can be so random. The Dodgers had beaten them in both Friday and Saturday's games. I think that was more maybe LA letting up a bit, and the pitching didn't show up with that 8-3 win. But the Mets still on the year, just 44-62. Meanwhile, the Braves 62-43, 18 wins ahead of the New York Mets. With that said, though, at some point teams win games. The worst teams are always going to win 60-70 games. Best teams are going to still lose 60-70. And I do think the Mets have some play-on opportunities here over the next month or so, and I believe that actually starts tonight with Zach Thornton on the mound. Rookie pitcher has only gone 23 innings this year in his big league debut season, but he's looked pretty damn good so far. 1.93 ERA, and he has made 4 starts, and he's been fantastic. In fact, his first start, his maiden debut back in May, he got lit up by sometimes my Washington Nationals, 4 runs in 4 innings. And then they didn't start him again for another month until the end of June. He's made 3 starts since, and boy, he has been lights out. 19 innings pitched, 1 earned run, including back-to-back shutouts his last 2 starts here in July, going 13 innings and giving up only 5 hits. He's been as good as anybody in baseball over the past month. And I know it's a small sample size, but I still think the Braves are going to have some trouble having never faced him tonight. And Martin Perez on the mound for Atlanta, 3.4 ERA overall this year, but a 4.3 ERA his last 7 starts since early June. So he's heading in the wrong direction. Thornton heading in the right direction. And I'm kind of looking for reasons to play on underrated teams like the Mets, who still have as big of a payroll in baseball as anybody. So there's talent there offensively, and they've got the pitching edge tonight, and yet we get them at a pick-em price because of the records. I like the New York Mets in this one, minus 105 in most locations. So take a look at them. And by the way, the New York lineup has hit Perez well during his career with this pretty good sample size. 125 at-bats. The current New York lineup tonight has a 304 career batting average against Perez. So I like the Mets here at home in a pick-em price. Hold your nose and play the New York Mets tonight at 7 Eastern. All right, the other game we're going to talk about here is the Cincinnati game. This is an interleague matchup between, don't you call them the Indians, the Guardians and the Reds. Battle of Ohio, Cleveland, Cincinnati, at Cincinnati. And Reds with Burns on the mound, about $1.60 favorite, and for good reason. Burns has been a solid pitcher this year. He was scratched from the All-Star game, but he was still an All-Star this year with a 2.4 ERA. He's cooled off a little bit, 3.1 his last 7 starts since early June. But once again, keep in mind that the pitching is usually ahead of the offense early in the season, and also the ball travels better in hot weather. So most pitchers have weaker numbers, especially heading into August. So I'm not going to read too much into that. Burns is still pitching well, but we are going to keep an eye on him because he pitched only 43 innings last year in his MLB debut season. He's already at 107 innings now. And these are the kind of guys, I talked about that this weekend on Last Call, about Cam Schlittler, other young pitchers like that are having great seasons. Keep an eye on their inning count, though. But so far, Burns is holding up pretty well. Did not pitch in the All-Star game, as I mentioned. So he had 12 days off from July 8th when he did struggle with just 5 innings against the Phillies. He looked pretty good, though, at Seattle a week ago on last Tuesday last week. 5 innings shutout, only 3 hits in 5 innings, no runs, and 6 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Cicconi's on the mound for Cleveland tonight. Very mediocre 4.6 ERA in the season. He's been a little bit better since early June. Last 7 starts, a 4.0 flat ERA. So both pitchers in decent current form, pitching well here. And it's hard to trust this Cleveland offense right now. Back-to-back shutout losses against the Rays. They scored 3 runs on Friday, and then they got shut out 3-0 and 1-0. The pitching did their part, but the offense did not. And even with 12 innings against Minnesota last Thursday, they only managed 1 run. In fact, the last 4 games, the Guardians have scored 4 runs total, and now they're traveling without rest. I don't think things get any better. And you could also make an argument maybe Cincinnati has a bit of a letdown in this game after being on the road for 9 straight games in St. Louis. They won 2 out of 3 there. They won 2 out of 3 at Seattle. Solid road trip. They now return home without rest. So while Burns is the better pitcher, I'm not in a hurry to lay $1.60 here with the Reds returning home off the 2-week road trip. But then again, I want nothing to do with Cleveland scoring basically 1 run or less in 3 of their last 4 games. So what do? Let's look at the under in this one instead. under 8.5. Would have liked it better at 9, which is a very key number. 7 and 9 are key numbers with totals in baseball because of extra innings. But I still think there's some value under 8.5 here. Or since we're not getting that key number of 9, we could always look team total Guardians under 3.5. So probably my preferred play would be Guardians under 3.5, or you could play the full game under 8.5. But yeah, that Cleveland offense is ice cold right now, and I don't see it getting any better tonight against Burns, who's been one of the best pitchers in the league.
Great.
Going to look at, by the way, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and give a promo here. I knew you're so kind. I knew you were going to ask, so I will let people know what I've got going on at WagerTalk.com. Hey, look, July's wrapping up this week. We've got 5 days left in the month of July, so it's your last chance to buy 3 days, get 3 days free. It's a fantastic special. My one best bet tonight, and by the way, 70% run in baseball since the All-Star break, and that's not a fluke. The best winning streak I've ever had in my 30-year career was right after the All-Star break about a decade ago. I won 19 straight baseball best bets for my clients. We're 7-3 so far since the break, so not going to have 19 straight wins, although who knows, maybe it starts tonight and we go 26-3. But more importantly is the long-term grind. And those who were with me a couple years ago, from this point on, in fact, exactly July 27th through the World Series 2 years ago, we went 52-24, 97 units. It started today on July 27th. We picked up 97 units, 52-24, the rest of the way through baseball. And that is baseball only. Don't forget, college and pro football less than a month away. It's a great time to check out my best bets and special offers at WagerTalk.com. Get tonight's single play in baseball, which is a different game, not one of the games we talked about. It's my client's best bet, or for 25, or get 6 days for 69. Normally 3 days is 69. Nope, you're getting 6 days for 69, dude, because it's buy 3, get 3 free, and it is stackable. Yes, you only have a week left to get the special offer, but you can buy multiple buy 3, get 3s and use them throughout the summer into the fall. Start dates whenever you want. So stack them up while it's still available. Buy 3, get 3 free at WagerTalk.com. And don't forget, daily free plays on my page as well. So if you're doing your own handicapping, if you're new to sports betting, check out the daily free play on my page as well. And check out these free play videos. Make sure you click subscribe. You click the bell here on Wager Talk TV. And you comment below, because we read the comments, we reply back. Who do you like tonight on Monday Night Baseball? Include some analysis so we can learn, earn, and win together here on the channel. And the quickest, most important thing, hit the thumbs up like. It takes 2 seconds for all these shows and videos. Click the thumbs up like. And if you're on your mobile device, you get to click the hype button as well, which is so much fun. But once again, strong best bet tonight and some special offers. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker. WT.buzz/SM.
Steve, I'm going to break down an NFL future, but I haven't talked to you since the LeBron to Philly news.
That's right.
The more and more I've thought about it, I think that this is just a brilliant move from LeBron. I liked it in the moment, but I'm just like going through, like, he moved to the East. That starting lineup is perfect for what he wants to do. He's playing with Edgecombe and Maxey, who can eat up big time minutes. So him and Embiid don't have to put a lot of miles on it. I think this was easily the best case scenario for where he went. Miami, no, you're not winning there. Cleveland sucks. I don't buy that team at all. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I think this was a perfect fit for him. What's your take?
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm watching Poly Market in particular for weeks, and it was Miami, Cleveland were both about 30%, and then about a day or two before it happened, Miami was over 50% in the betting markets. And Golden State at one point the week or two before it bumped, Philly had bumped. They were both at like 14%. So it sounds like it was either Golden State or Philly. So the insiders definitely did not know that anything in the betting markets, because they had about 60 to 70% for months that it was going to be Cleveland or Miami, which to me was kind of boring. I didn't want to see him going somewhere he had already gone. I got a lot of Philadelphia Sixer fans and friends here on the East Coast. I've been talking a lot about this, including yesterday. I was at a AAU tournament. We were talking about it. Here's my take. First of all, I do think it was a good move for him. But there's never an NBA team that has 3 or 4 offensive superstars that win it all. Now, I know the Pistons, when was it, in 2004, when they upset the Lakers in the finals, had 5 All-Stars that year. But that was misleading because Ben Wallace was a rebounder defender, didn't play any offense. They didn't rely on him for offense. Hamilton and Billups in the backcourt, not necessarily Hall of Fame caliber guards. So maybe rephrase it that no team ever has more than like a couple Hall of Fame caliber players. And LeBron obviously is. Embiid, if he stays healthy, could be. Maxey and those guys aren't there yet, but Maxey is an all-star. And then also you've got Jaylen Brown coming in, who's a borderline Hall of Fame talent player. there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen, and historically these type of teams don't get it done. But the question becomes, who's willing to defer? I think LeBron in his older age is willing to defer. We saw Maxey defer when, Embiid was healthy. We didn't know about Maxey, and then he's a 30-point scorer suddenly when they need him. The real X factor for me is going to be Jaylen Brown and how he assimilates, because yes, he's stepped down at times when Tatum's the go-to guy at Boston, but he's also been like Maxey where he can take over. And then I didn't even remember Edgecombe was there. I didn't even mention his name all weekend when I was talking about the Sixers. He's another upcoming talent. I think the Sixers can definitely win the East. It's a very winnable conference. Yeah, the Knicks will be good again. Maybe a little bit of a letdown by them, but I still think Thunder or Spurs are the team to beat. But it's going to be exciting. And historically speaking, though, it's usually two superstars, Pippen Jordan, Kobe Shaq, right? Wade James with Bosh as a big man, Kerr and Rodman, the role players on those Bulls teams. The Pistons had Isaiah, had Lambeer, a big banger. So this is a lot of all-stars to win a championship. We haven't seen it done, and that's why I'm always so anti-James Harden as well. When he goes to a team, it never works out. We'll see if this time is different. LeBron being more of a veteran, aging superstar, maybe it will be, but going to be exciting. And load management will be huge. It'll make the regular season a lot easier, sitting Embiid and James, so they definitely will be fresh come playoff time.
Yeah, I agree. You could even go to the Celtics. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, 2 stars. So
seriously, Eddie, can you think of a team? I mean, the Pistons were the only one I ever think about, but they weren't like superstars, right? They were like
the Miami
all-stars
Heat the Miami Heat are the obvious.
But that was 3, and Bosh was a different type of player, and Kevin Love all of a sudden did nothing when he was on that team. Remember, he was a go-to guy in Minnesota, Cleveland also. Kyrie Irving, James, right? Steph Curry, and like Draymond Green's a banger, right? They're not Edgecombe, James, Embiid's a big man, but like Jaylen Brown's the one for me, Andy, that's really interesting. You almost wonder, like, they've been better off had they not gotten Jaylen Brown and just gotten LeBron, and got more of a role guy.
I don't think LeBron goes there if Jaylen Brown does it, but
100% right. Yeah, exactly right. That's the problem. But yeah, the more I've been around basketball, both coaching, handicapping for 30 years now, and you have as well, you start to realize it's not about scoring, right? And in fact, I had a rec game this past week I coached, and one guy had a great game. My man Cannon Dodd, who's gotten shout-outs on the NBA TV show with Joe Ranieri before. My man Cannon, I'm giving you a shout-out. 21 points out of our 64. And he did have a great game. Then I go right away, how many assists did you have? I don't know. How many rebounds did you have? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like kids are like that. Every kid does that. They're always checking their points, and I'm always messing with them. How many assists did you have? I don't know. Well, every assist is a basket for someone. So it's as good as scoring 2 as getting an assist. And there's only one basketball out there, right? Not everybody can shoot at every possession. So we'll see how it plays out. Be fun to watch. So I'm sure the NBA's happy.
Oh, it's going to be must-watch TV. And all of a sudden the East is now really, really, really interesting.
And you got your Pacers coming back to life, maybe, right?
That's what I mean. The Pacers are going to be back. Giannis is on the Miami Heat. You've got the Knicks. You got the 76ers. You still got the Celtics. Like, a lot of fun teams. Charlotte. Up and coming. So the East,
and then whoever wins it can lose to either the Thunder or the Spurs in the finals.
They can lose in 5 to the Spurs. Yes,
to the Spurs. I agree. It's going to probably be the Spurs.
Thunder's weekend.
Thunder, right? Jalen and SGA. I mean,
absolutely.
Wemby and whoever else you want to pick on the Spurs. I mean, it really is remarkable how this year Brunson, really nobody else. Brunson and Cat.
Cat was great in the playoffs.
But those are 2 like all-star Hall of Fame caliber players. Like no team has more than normally. It's very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Thanks very much, Steve.
Thanks,
good
Andy.
luck on all your bets. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys. So, all right. So along with the 5% tennis doubles, I did put up a 4% MLB prop that is up. Those of you that have been playing the MLB props, these are just like, it couldn't be going any better. 17-5 run. We hit our big one on Saturday. We didn't have one on Sunday. Didn't like anything, but there is a K prop that is up. We basically stopped doing totals and spreads in MLB and just focusing on props. So the 4% is up there. But again, don't mess around with just one play. Get a package. If you want to buy 3 days, get 3 free. That gets you the play today, gets you the play the 5% tomorrow. And we're still running that special for half price on 30 days. This is going to get us into preseason football, getting closer to college football and NFL season. So we're running at half price, $149. Those of you that got on board last week, we had a great weekend. So I know you guys are really happy. So appreciate all you guys, but we got to do some NFL futures every single day up until the first game of the season. We're going to be doing futures. So Monday's quarterbacks, Tuesday is a wide receiver. Wednesday is a running back. Thursday is a win total. And Friday is going to be a viewer choice. Last week's viewer choice, the Chargers, that ended up being an actual client play. We've got 3 of these futures that were good enough to bet with our own money. Those are available to all access clients. But we're going to start today with Jared Goff, 4,099.5 yards passing. So let's break this one down and let me know in the comments section if you guys like the over under on this one. I don't think I have a really strong take, but let's break it down. So last year he had 4,564, 2024, 4,629, 2023, 4,575. Year before that, 4,438. So he's been obliterating this total, but he's played in all 17 games in all 4 of those years. Great durability, but that's a pretty incredible streak to not miss any games. So the Lions offense is truly incredible. It has been since Goff got there. 6 yards per play last year. That was 3rd in the league. 28.3 points per game. That was 4th in the league. 7.4 yards per pass attempt. That was 4th in the league. 103.6 passer rating. That was 3rd in the league. You get the point. This offense is dynamic. They added depth to their offensive line in free agency and the draft. Their offensive line was not that great last year. It ranked a little bit below average. If you watched Lions games, there were certain games where they struggled mightily. So that has to be the spot that they have to improve on. They have a brand new offensive coordinator, Drew Petzing. I've found some comments from players from the Lions. They love him. All the meetings and get-togethers have been really productive and really good. So it sounds like there's good optimism. The backfield did get a bit weaker in the rushing area. No David Montgomery. So David Montgomery's moving on. He was a perfect fit for that team. So it's going to be all Jahmyr Gibbs mixed in with a couple of other guys. I absolutely love their receivers and their pass catchers. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I draft Amon-Ra St. Brown every year in fantasy football. He falls to the end of the first round or the beginning of the second round, and I don't get it. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is truly elite. They've got Jamison Williams, who took a step forward last year. They got Isaac Tesla, second year. He had some really good moments last year. Sam Laporta is coming back, and you got Jahmyr Gibbs coming out of the backfield. This is one of the stronger pass-catching core in the league. One of the best schedules in the league as well. I believe one website has them ranked as the second easiest based on the season win totals. So they're getting a really, really good schedule. Jared Goff plays all the games, and he's gone over 4 years in a row. The only way you can take an under is if you're just predicting an injury, which is really tough to do. But if this guy plays all 17 games, he's going to go over. My lean is going to be to the over. But as a bettor, I do not play overs on massive numbers like this. One small injury where he misses a few games and this goes under. If you told me he was playing 17 games, I would take the over. But I just don't play massive numbers on quarterbacks and running backs and wide receivers. So the lean is to the over. This will not be a client play. So let me know if you guys like it. Let's see. We got unders. You got unders. So we got a couple people going under on this one. So always love the feedback. So if you want to give me your suggestion, put it in the comment section after the show. Fridays is going to be it's up to you guys. You guys tell me what you want to see broken down. So, all right. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. New week, new opportunities, guys. We got some big plays. We got a 5% tennis doubles play, 4% MLB play, and later today, once the lines are solidified in UFC, we got a 5% going up, coming off of another 5% winner on Saturday. So jump on board, go to the specials page, try and grab one of those specials. Don't just get one play. Make sure you lock in something for at least a week so you can join us for all of our plays. So thanks very much, guys. Good luck on your bets. We'll be back tomorrow for $5 Tuesday and Dinger Tuesday tomorrow. Don't miss it. Good luck on your bets. We'll see you everyone tomorrow. Take care.